MSNTV.
Our boardrooms coming to you live from the International Serena Kampala Conference Center. I am delighted indeed to come to your living room, to your hotel room, wherever you are. We have just had a very scintillating backdrop of a week that passed where we had a political revolution by Trump, trouncing everyone and making sure that we had a spectacular political revolution in the US. But that's a different story. We are going to talk about women in business. And let's get started. Let me build this introduction to help get us on board for this particular discussion. During the 2014 Uganda population census, it was recorded that the human population was over 34.6 million people, estimated to having risen to over 38 million hitherto on a 3% population trajectory. The gender demographic percentile difference is so marginal that Uganda is nearly split in equal measure of male and females. Women make up 52.5% of the labor force and are an important pool of potential talent to help Uganda meet its development goals, especially in the area of entrepreneurial and micro, small and medium enterprises. So, however, it is generally perceived that women face more challenges than men in starting, managing and growing their enterprises, as they are more likely to be impeded by a lack of necessary capacities, skills and resources. They are more disadvantaged than men due to legal impediments, established cultural norms and attitudes that are about women's roles, less mobility and the unequal demands of domestic responsibilities on women's time. So, according to the latest International Labour Organization's Uganda Women Economic Development Report, although Uganda has made some important advancements in women's entrepreneurship development since the early 2000s, the challenges facing women entrepreneurs have not changed that much. That's a quotation from that report. So today here on set with a fabulous panel of young, influential business policy stakeholders from Uganda Registration Service Bureau, Private Sector Foundation Uganda, and the Uganda Law Society, I bring you a fantastic discussion on women in business. So let's get started. Good evening, ladies. How are you? So on my extreme left, I have Ms. Sarah Nakibuka, the Public Relations Manager, Private Sector Foundation Uganda. Sarah, you're welcome.
Thank you very much and good evening, viewers. I'm delighted to be here to discuss gender.
Great. In the middle, I have Ms. Juliet Scovia Apolot, the Senior Registration Officer in charge of the Uganda Registration Services Bureau Branch Office at Posta, Uganda, Kampala Road. How are you, Juliet?
I'm okay. How are you?
I'm okay.
Good evening, our viewers. I'm happy and delighted to be a part of this discussion, and I hope we're going to have a fruitful discussion.
I believe so. And on my very immediate left, I have Ms. Namudi Irene, the Chairperson, Young Lawyers Committee, Uganda Law Society. Irene, you're welcome.
Thank you.
Yes, what does the Young Lawyers Committee generally do?
Well, good evening, viewers, and I'm happy to be here. The Young Lawyers Committee under the Uganda Law Society is just an organization, really, a committee that was put together to look after the interests of young people, generally. You've introduced it. We have a lot of marginalization, a lot of differences in age and gender. So the Young Lawyers Committee is put together just to look after the interests of young people.
Okay. All right. I just needed to make sure that we understand. What this PSFU has been, I've had an opportunity to interview PSFU officials here, so many people understand what PSFU is and URSB. So let me get to Juliet. So I have a certain extract of Understanding Women, Micro and Small Business Entrepreneurs in Uganda research report made by a study from the Makerere University Business School research. And it says that the business was considered registered if the authorities had knowledge of the existence of the business. For example, if one paid market dues or local council fees to operate in the market or by the roadside. So there is an emphasis by URSB for people to register their businesses, and majorly right now, as we're discussing, a greater emphasis on women. What is all this about? Why do we need really to give a special interest focus on women?
Thank you so much. As URSP, first of all, let's understand what URSP is. URSP stands for Uganda Registration Services Bureau, and in this we know that it's mandated by the Act of Parliament to formalize businesses. Mm-hmm. And in this report we're looking at issues of the informal sector. Mm-hmm. Now URSP comes on board to say, no, we need to go formal. And what do we understand by formal? We are saying you need to come to Uganda Registration Services Bureau and have your business, whatever it is, have it registered. Pay the necessary legal fees required, have the necessary paperwork on board, and then you have your certificate. Mm-hmm. And then we can say, we or you are formally registered. Mm-hmm. And so anything to do by the roadside, and it doesn't connote registration. Yeah, because that research making that point was on the basis that actually if you say I'm not registered but I'm actually being levied as I'm running a business or a kiosk or some sort of vending on the street or in the market, that implies that I'm actually already recognized by an authority, so I'm legitimate. So that is where the school, but we'll come back to that. So let me just proceed on to Sarah and ask, you know, we have a serious regulatory labyrinth, a complex of business regulations, and they seem to have no, they don't ease the response from women and generally all other business actors to come and conform to those regulations. How exactly are we, as you know, the people who are stakeholders, including PSFU, helping to ensure that the regulatory framework of business is lightened for people to conform, to comply, and make a better business environment?
Thank you. First and foremost, I'll just talk about the entire perspective of the issues of gender. We have seen the statistics that 52% of the women in this country, and close to that actually contribute to the labor force in our country, meaning that we really have a big percentage of women contributing to our labor force in Uganda. However, despite the fact that we do that, there are still glaring gender gaps happening. Why? Because of the cultural norms, because of the legal issues that we are going to explore more in this discussion. And when you don't consider gender-related issues, or when you don't consider gender, it means that we are losing a lot. When you look at the pay gap, if a man is being paid 1,000 shillings, a woman is being paid 70, you know, or 700 in that case. So there is a gap of 30% in there.
But sir, now that's a bit parallel to the discussion this time, because that is now a labor payment parity issue. I really wanted
to bring it to the context.
But now if you're talking about business, and we are talking about the policy regulation, the regulatory framework of businesses here, we are all actually being influenced by the same levy factors and demands. You're supposed to make sure that you comply to the same registration requirements. So I need you to make a citation on that aspect of the business environment itself, not necessarily the labor difficulties of payment, and that's what I'm talking about, the business environment. So particularly.
That is true, but some of these issues, when you come to I'll start with the legal regulations. When you see the labor laws in Uganda, I want to congratulate our government. These laws are there. That men are equal to women in terms of employment. But still we find issues of discrimination because of our cultures. So these are still challenges that we are facing. When we go to issues of business registration, like the URSP, I mean, the Companies Act talks about equality of men and women. But when it comes to sharing of information, men have access to information than women. And we haven't seen a focus on particularly the women to be able to understand what does it mean to register a business. Because today, if I asked you, registering a business takes how much money? Most of the women are in the SME sector. And you realize that because they are there, they don't have access to information in most cases. And when it comes to registration... But is that the weakness of an institutional gender sort of policy problem, or it's the weakness of the
female gender that is not really that curious or that deliberate on getting that information?
No, because, I mean, the laws are,
So
they
because,
are talking
okay,
about these issues.
I can quote for you the Women's Entrepreneurship Development Report, which was done by the ILO, okay? It says that women can register business without the legal requirement to obtain their husband's permission. They can register their businesses online or through local registration points. Their own complaint is that the Registration of Companies Act 2012 simplified the process, but many women entrepreneurs are not aware of the registration processes. So this is a weakness on women, not necessarily on the...
It is not a weakness on women. We would like the URSB to focus particularly on the women. Go tell them what exactly is happening. And these women, I'll take an example as taking you into a woman having 1 million shillings today. And when you go into registration of a business, it could even take you more than that. They have an arrangement with the Uganda Revenue Authority. They also have an arrangement with the KCCA. Today, if you register a business with URSB, tomorrow you have to pay something, income tax. You have to register your TIN. You have to do all those procedures. And women don't have access to this information. It is very tedious even to us who have been in school. And then the issue of when you go to KCCA, how many shops have been closed in Kampala? And not only in Kampala, but also at the local level. So there are still things that URSB needs to do in terms of informing, particularly to these women. Because in most cases, these women are home doing domestic works. Let's say they worked for about 8 hours. Then they get home because they have to respond to domestic issues. And then the men are left behind. For them, they are at work, making decisions at work. These women sometimes don't even have access to information on the radio. And they are on the radio as URSB. So can we design programs to go particularly to these women and tell them in their local languages, simplify the information, you know, so that these women can understand. Make it easy. It is very expensive to pay for registration today. But can we make it as easy as possible? If it is online, can these women go online and access it from there? Or you need to come to where I am?
Okay.
There are also other issues related to...
The argument definitely there. It sounds like a clarion call to help the women, but it's a cut-across problem to the business community and to those aspiring to do business. So just lastly, so what specific regulation, is there a certain regulatory constraint that you feel women are actually being, women are facing in them advancing their entrepreneurial interests in the business environment?
I'll just bring up an issue of the issues related to land, because yes, I mean, there is equal access to land, but there are still those inheritance, what should I call them, issues that are affecting us, customary issues, where a girl and a lady is not supposed to own land.
Yes.
You may, Law Society is going to tell us about the enactment of some of these regulations. Some of them exist, but implementation is the issue. Why? Because the men feel that we should not be able to, we should not access according to our norms, according to what used to happen before.
Okay.
When I bring to you the issue of the marriage and divorce bill, I don't want to discuss it today, but it is something that can help a woman there be able to access property or access land, which land is used as collateral to access financing from the bank. If there is no regulation particularly to help them, the succession regulation, the inheritance, the widows, they end up getting nothing at the end of the day. So this is what can help them to actually access financing and then be able to build on their businesses better. Without these, nothing can be done.
So actually this is beyond just the business regulation, the regulatory context. It goes into other fields. Like,
yes, because government has done very well
rights
in terms of the regulations. The regulations are there.
And all other things.
Exactly.
Okay.
I want to put something to you briefly before
we'll
we
get
lose
back
it.
to that because of the constraint of time. Let me first get into the legal perspective. Great submission. It's just that I need to make a balance of the discussion and then we go for a break. So, we are talking, Irene, about the complexities of the legal regime. Now, let me ask you specifically, you are representing Uganda Law Society. Young, brilliant lady, definitely, and you're the head of the committee for young lawyers. Yes, Young Lawyers Committee, Uganda Law Society. So how relevant are you? And of course, in addition to other civil society efforts, to the enhancement of the women's entrepreneurial role in Uganda?
Thank you very much for that question. First of all, the Uganda Law Society is a general body that brings lawyers, professionals together with a goal, an agenda, to bring back legal, ethical practice in the profession. We uphold integrity and professionalism in our profession. So, as the Uganda Law Society, we are interested in matters to do with the law and how it affects human rights. Because we advocate for human rights. We've got different committees, another committee that handles human rights and advocates for everybody has a right. You've heard our president talk about the rule of law in the press, because we want to bring that back and make people understand that the law, nobody is above the law. Everybody has to be subjected to the law. So as a society, how are we relevant?
Yes, especially in enhancing or advancing the cause of entrepreneurial players that are women in the business environment.
Yes. One of our objectives and one of our, how do I put it? One of the things that the Law Society does under the Act, when it was enacted, we're supposed to advise government on the legal regimes and policies that they pass, so that we make sure that let's say in this case we're talking about women, women's rights are not maligned. They are taken care of. So as a society, we've set up partnerships with different organizations. Of course, we are here because we support the initiative by URSB and PSFU to support women in business. But we've also done partnerships with DFCU and their program Women in Business. What we do, we've set up a female lawyers committee, and this committee sits and examines the problems that women face, not just the lawyers, but women generally. So what we do quarterly, they visit the bank, the DFCU, and sit down with women who are seeking credit facilities from the bank. They sit with them, advise them, how do you register your business, what do you require, what is the process, how much will it take, and all this is done at no cost. It's part of our initiative as the society to remain relevant to the women in business.
Okay.
So we give them free legal advice, we give them pointers on how they're supposed to do this, and this is done regularly so that it's not a one-off and we forget about it, but it's an initiative by the society.
Okay, so you get them on registration. Now, if you're talking about especially the aspect of credit access, okay? Because the most fundamental prerequisite for establishing a business is capital, capital access, okay? One of the complaints, I think I just got a quotation from New Vision, 22nd September 2015, okay? From the lady called Gudula Naiga Basas, the chairperson of Uganda Women's Entrepreneurs Association Limited, and she had an emphatic complaint that women have no credit history and banks cannot give them credit. They are too small to be managed by the banks. And they find all these inhibitions for them actually to get capital access. So something of that kind.
But you see, if somebody has given you advice, because there's so many entities that you can register as a business. You can choose to have a company, you can have a private company, a company limited by a guarantee, you can have a sole proprietorship, you can have a partnership. If you are given advice and the cost of each of these, because for example, if you're just registering a business, and URSB will advise, I think the cost is almost about 30,000 shillings. You cannot tell me that whatever the problem, whatever the issue, you cannot access that money. We are trying to make it as simple as possible to register. So you may not have to start with a company, which will cost you quite a little bit more because you have to pay stamp duties and everything. But you can register your name, register a business name, and it is recognized. You'll have a certificate of registration, and you can start your business. As you grow, because even the bank will recognize it, if you have a certificate of incorporation, they'll be able to work with you because they know where you are and what you're doing.
Okay.
And then with time, you can evolve into something bigger. Okay,
so just Julia, to wrap up this segment, what are the specific requirements? I know we had a discussion to the first talk show we had, that is 2 weeks ago. But what are the specific requirements? Like 5, if somebody is interested, a lady is interested in starting up a business, to make sure they have their business registered and certified.
All right, thank you for that. To start up a business, it's quite easy. The basic requirements are that you must have a name. And in a name, you basically just come up with a name that you desire. For instance, X Enterprises. Have it reserved. That is the first step. And after that is reserved, or it's available to you, then you go on to pay. I'm talking about a business name, because that is actually easy and it's affordable and accessible to anyone. It's about 24,000. Upon approval of your name, you then go to pay to the bank, as low as 24,000. A certificate is processed, and there you go.
Okay, there's no requirement, a very stringent requirement for premises. Because, for instance, let me just give you this scenario or kind of situation which is very prevalent. Okay, I'm out there on the street. I'm hustling in the evening. I have maybe a goat roasting pallet that I just in the evening make chapatis and make goat roasting. Can that also be pushed into your registration pool and asked to be registered? Or that is something that you're still giving leeway to somebody to not to register? I'm just giving you, that's basic business actually, informal business here, SMEs in Uganda.
Yes, most of our business are basically in the informal. For instance, the man roasting muchomo on the roadside is informal. But carrying on business in that way is also recognized in a way because we know that he's benefiting from it. But we're saying, why not come up?
So you would require that person to come and do a registration?
Yeah, to come and do as low as 24,000 because it starts with a small business.
But that's a mobile business. How?
It is a mobile business, but you need to have a legal status.
Okay.
You need to grow your business because I'm thinking you're roasting one goat. Maybe in years to come, you're roasting, I don't know, 30 or so a day.
Right.
And there's market available for some of these products. So I'm encouraging everyone to come really. It's not about being in a box. Come up and register. The procedures are quite, friendly. It's just you have your name, your details, where you stay, are you a Ugandan? The basic information every Ugandan must have.
Okay, on that note, let me just take a break. I'm grateful indeed for a brilliant young panel of ladies discussing business. Viewers, when we come back, I'm going to play an inspirational video just to reflect quite great principles and standards of running a business, of Oprah Winfrey, Martha Stewart's. Those are actually business, television mogul owners, and the lady called Beyonce Noel. So play that video clip. It will give us just about 6 principles which to reflect on when you're running a business in order to make it successful. I'll be back shortly. Thank you.
Jinro, good times, worth protecting.
Can Bebe Diaper, your smart choice for a happy family. A good diaper has high absorbency and magic gel which locks any urine or moisture in the diaper. Your baby's bum is left dry, which prevents rashes and itching that may cause baby discomfort. Can Baby Diapers have a dry fill system which absorbs the liquidity instantly, prevents leakage and keeps the baby dry and comfortable. Available in all leading stores countrywide.
Coming soon on NTV.
The world always needs more food. And this makes the farming business very lucrative. the excitement of getting started in this industry could overwhelm any newcomer.
Come up with oranges, we get the lemon seeds. After growing, there is what we call grafting. These ones I've been able to graft them. So these are now oranges.
Prospective farmers need to have a market for their goods,
Export products have market.
a business plan,
Starting up a business does not require you having a very big land.
and financial systems to see them through the startup phase. In this new season, we highlight how young farmers can leverage the power of the cooperative, explore value addition, and cement their positions in Uganda's farming story for years to come.
When you trust something with your eyes closed, it's got to be good for you. At Fresh Dairy, we spare no effort to bring you the purest milk. It's fresh and tasty so that you keep enjoying the good things in life. Fresh Dairy, simply good for you.
I'm a very curious person, and that curiosity really is, I think, at the basis for all the kinds of things that I like to try in a lot of different things.
The way through the challenge is to get still and ask yourself, what is the next right move? Not think about, oh, I got all of this stuff. What is the next right move? And then from that space, make the next right move and the next right move. And not to be overwhelmed by it, because you know your life is bigger than that one moment. You know you're not defined by what somebody says is a failure for you, because failure is just there to point you in a different direction.
Everything that I've done, I've worked so hard from until my toes are bleeding and no complaints. So it takes so much hard work, and I think the more you have to work for something, the more you cherish it. And every time I think about doing something silly or something that's going to be detrimental to my career that I built, I think about all that time I've sacrificed in my childhood and my family and all the people that worked so hard, and I could never disrespect all that I've worked for. I could never disrespect my fans. I could never disrespect the opportunity that I've been given.
When you develop your business plan, don't be afraid to write everything down, everything that comes into your mind. Because ultimately, if you have a good business plan, well thought out, well designed, carried out for a year or two or three, you can start to follow that plan in an orderly fashion. It doesn't always work. It doesn't always work. It doesn't always turn out the way you think it's going to turn out. You might stumble or trip or fall in a gully. But if you have the plan, you can get up and continue on your path.
Nothing about my life is lucky. Nothing. A lot of grace, a lot of blessings, a lot of divine order, but I don't believe in luck. For me, luck is preparation, meeting the moment of opportunity. There is no luck without you being prepared to handle that moment of opportunity. And so what I would say for myself is that because of my hand in a hand and a force greater than my own, I have been prepared in ways that I didn't even know I was being prepared for. And the truth is, for me and for every person, every single thing that has ever happened in your life is preparing you for the moment that is to come.
I'm competitive really with myself.
Right.
Honestly, like every time I start an album, I go and watch all of my performances. I'm really tough on me, more so than anyone else. I'm not a competitive person that walks in thinking about other people.
Thank you for keeping with us. That's just a sensational discussion within three ladies who are of great high corporate business profile. That is Beyonce Knowles, that is Martha Stewart, and the famous Oprah Winfrey. So, Let me come to Sarah. Sarah is representing Private Sector Foundation Uganda. Sarah, there was a census of business establishments in 2011 rather, which reported that almost 94% of business establishments are sole proprietorships, okay, rather than partnerships and limited liability companies, and have fewer than 5 employees. Now, I need you to assist people out there, because we cannot continue having women just keep on struggling in small businesses. What skills are needed to make sure that you can push an MSME from that level to a corporate standard? Just to reach to the levels of these women who are talking. Just about 3 maybe principles that you think are quite quintessential.
Yeah, that's true. In fact, when I add to what you have said, close to 90% of SMEs that start don't reach their first birthday. It means there is a lot that needs to be done between the women, but also between everybody doing business. Number 1, before you do a business, do some research. Find out whether the business you're going to do is actually feasible or good or something that will earn you a profit. Most of you just start a business. Because Sarah has started the Sarah and Sons salon, you also start a salon next to that. Why? You haven't done research. Maybe Sarah did the research. You've not gone down deeper to know whether there's market or there is something you need to do before that. Number 2 is that you need to prepare after doing the research. Find the necessary financing that is required for you, because during the research, then you can find out, if I'm going to start a restaurant, I will need 20,000 shillings, or I will need 200 million, or I'll need this amount of money. Can I afford it? How can I start? I'll give an example of poultry. Some of you start poultry just because so-and-so has started. And when you start, maybe you start with a small amount of money. In the middle of it, you go and get a loan. And when you get this loan, part of it goes to children's school fees. Then in the middle there, the chicken do not have the feeds. And then somehow the whole thing has collapsed. And everybody's saying, the prices of feeds are so high, I've failed, the chicken are dying, because you did not do enough research. And then the financing you got, you used it in other things. Then after getting the financing, can you do a business plan, either for 1 year, for 2 years, for 5 years, so that you can know where your business is taking you, without just thinking, because some of us wake up and start to do something without a vision, without anything, and then somehow you are collapsing in the middle of it, and you can't make it. The other issues are general, other big issues that we can even debate on. But those are the 3 principles. Then the other one is hard work. Some of you think that when you start, then it's just a bed of roses. You really have to put in a lot as an entrepreneur, do some networking, find the market. Because some of you just go into poultry and then you don't know where you're going to supply. Today, government has approved the local content policy. Some of you are going to be requested to supply. But do you know where you're going to supply? Because some of you may be excited and tomorrow you're going to start producing furniture because the government of Uganda is going to buy. What specifications do you have? Can you go and find out which specifications they need so that you produce something that is required on the market and then you don't find losses in there?
Oh, greatly said. And yeah, I don't want to make any addition over that. So let me go straight to Juliet. Okay, Juliet, just in support of what she's saying, she's giving a good layout of exactly what we need to do. But in your service with the URSB, we need to know, are women businesses making any significant contribution to the economy of Uganda? Are there good big businesses that have been done? Just in that same line of the report, you know, the census of business establishments, there were 58,106 businesses with fixed premises in the country, 44% owned by females and 56% by males. Okay, so among that sort of tilted balance, that it's actually the masculine businesses that are much stronger, and in most cases, as you go across the country, except here NTV, which is managed by a great lady, few businesses are actually being run by ladies. How economically significant are lady businesses in Uganda?
Well, thank you for that. We know that as our economy, women, per the report, women make up the majority, and so they are doing business. But again, we're saying that their businesses are still in the informal. To say that the masculine or maybe the men are dominating the major businesses, I'm pretty sure that the business is growing, especially dominated by the women, though the majority are the informal, who you find, for instance, at the window markets. Yeah, they're doing the vending, selling tomatoes. They're trying. You see that there's, a willingness from the women. They're not the woman you used to know who just sits back and then says, well, maybe my husband will, fend for me. But she's willing to go out of her way to even do the small roasts. You find them having Ginat roasted, sim and all that. And then you're wondering, how is this person making ends meet? But we're seeing that gradually they're coming up. They're interesting. It's the attitude they're trying to, display. And so in this attitude, we're saying, no, we can help encourage them. We can help support them. Talk to them about what they need, just like Sarah pointed out. What the basics. Are you passionate about a business? What business is profitable? How can you come out, to be a big supplier? The likes of the chicken, the poultry. I believe every one of us enjoys chicken. And so these are some of the initiatives you're trying to say, women, we can do much better. Get into organized groups. As URSP, we are seeing these women coming on board, registering every day, every other day. You find out of 5, 3 will be women.
Really?
Out
so
of
more
5,
women are doing business registration.
More women are actually coming on board because they don't want to operate in that kind of, a hide and seek. Tomorrow, probably the taxman is coming at the door, and then they don't want to be in that commotion. They're actually willing to come up and have their business registered formally.
Okay, just give me a slight understanding. For instance, you go into a marketplace, a formal marketplace like, let's say, Wandega Market, okay?
Yes.
Each of those stall distributions for the vendors in that market supposed to be independently registered as, as a business, or those are left as just in that context of that area that they're operating? We recognize them, but they don't necessarily need to have a business identity.
No, we're saying that every individual, whether you're male or female, operating anything in a sense of a business, whether you have your small store, we're saying come up and be registered.
Okay, that
yes, again, if you decide to say we go as a group, it's still okay, because the law still provides for associations. You come up as a group. If you cannot help yourself as one, you can stand together and support each other. And so in such an arrangement, you're able to have a legal status of a registration or of a company, for instance, or even a business name. So whatever is applicable in the circumstances. Yes.
Okay, great. Let me just bring in now Sarah here. The Global Entrepreneurship Monitoring Project, Uganda data, is quite similar to COB, okay? Made its own data collection and says that 29% of adult women were having established businesses, and 34% of adult men, on the contrary, we're also having those businesses. So I'm asking, if you're making a very focused promotion emphasis for women in business, are you integrating men to come and be by the side of women rather than cloistering them and, literally bandwagoning men and saying these are a real kind of dangerous competitors in the system? Is there a way you have an integral part of asking ladies to seek partnership from men? Because that, I think, would make tremendous sense.
Definitely it would. And from a legal perspective, there is nothing in the law that prohibits a man and a woman from partnering to do a business. Of course, the challenge with that is the nature of our society. It's patriarchal in nature. It's given women roles. We are supposed to be nurturers. We are supposed to be homemakers. We are not supposed to be in the business world. But because of the changing roles of society, the economy, things have become a bit harder than they used to be. So you'll find that women have got to go out in the workplace and begin to start businesses. Now, we are not saying that men are not supporting. Some of them play a role. It depends on the relationship you have with this person. I've seen businesses that have been started up with money from the husband, from a father, or from an uncle, a good relative. And they're doing well. Women have been supported in that way. We've also seen cases where men have come in as advisors because they probably have the experience. As she was saying, do some research. You're going to have to talk to some of your male colleagues. Personally, I have a law firm that I started, but I had to first consult some people.
Wow, that's your own law firm?
Yes.
Okay,
I
great
run my
inspiration.
own,
At least
yes. I run my own law firm, but I had to consult some of my male colleagues. What are the challenges they found? What are the things that I should look out for when I'm starting this business? How do I register it? I had to consult. So I do not think that men are being, we're not saying they are fighting, but you see, business generally, women have, how do I put it? A man will have experience, and that will be enough. A woman will have to work triple harder. So we are saying let us support the women to also come up to the level that men are at, so that it is an equal footing. We are fighting for equal rights of everybody. And one of the ways we do that is to empower women in business. If you are selling tomatoes and he's selling tomatoes, both of you should be able to pitch at the same level. Not preference that because he's a man, he does better business. He understands business better. Women also understand business, regardless of the level of education. Because if we can run a home, we definitely can run a business.
Okay, so you encourage partnership,
yes,
rather than
we do.
Very heated competition. So,
yes.
Okay, I need to make sure that I have Sarah on board, right? And make sure I get. Just lastly, now we have a very turbulent, shaky, and not quite a conducive economic environment. You're representing PSFU, and you know definitely that affects the women much more. And high taxation, low credit access, just as we've been discussing, a volatile sort of shilling, and so many things. Actually, even big businesses failing and collapsing. So, what are you doing to help influence, especially these center of powers, the Ministry of Finance, Ministry of Trade, to make sure that there is an improvement on the economic environment, which can actually facilitate a better play field for the women to enterprise through this environment and succeed? Yeah, just in 2 minutes.
So thank you very much. The Private Sector Foundation has been engaging, even currently now as I speak, we have a think tank engaging on the cost of money, because it's something that is really very, very expensive for the private sector. We cannot perform unless the rate at which we are borrowing is favorable to us. And it affects more the women, and harder and harder. So Private Sector Foundation is engaging strongly with the Ministry of Finance and also other departments of the government, and also engaging with the Parliament. We have regular meetings with the Parliament of Uganda on key
that graph on the screen is representing the fluctuation of commodities in the country. So if you have lower prices, it generates a lower business sort of a capacity and conducive environment for people to get more profit. Yeah, just continue.
Yeah, because I've been talking about engagements with the government, with the Ministry of Finance, with other departments, and also Parliament. But what are those issues that we are talking about? We are saying that can the interest rates come down in Uganda? Because when you do the rating with other countries, Uganda is 24%, Kenya is lower than that, Rwanda is at 18%, Tanzania is 17%. So what are we? Kenya is at 13%. Can we at least compare with the East African region? When you go to electricity, it is still high. In Uganda, it is more expensive than other countries. It means that an investor will not come and invest here, will run to other countries because it is easier to do business in other countries than Uganda. Yes, the recent ease of doing business by the World Bank says that Uganda is at 115, as compared to last year, which is 122. We have improved.
Which is second to Kenya, rather to Kenya and Rwanda. Actually, it's the third in the region.
Yes. Yeah. So, but we need to do even much more. When you look at the cost of transporting your goods from down in the village to Kampala, the rating is still higher in Uganda as compared to other countries. We need to do more. When you go to the bank to get money, have talked about it already. The issue of the interest rate is still very high. You had the debate on the bailout. A number of companies collapsed.
So
and
you're
they are still
generally
collapsing.
dealing with all those issues, trying
So
to make sure that the government responds to those matters to generate a more conducive environment.
Yes.
That's what you're saying?
Yes.
Okay, great. Just on that note, we need to take a break, then we come back. And thanks our viewers for keeping with us. When we come back, we're going to invite your calls if you're really interested in joining this discussion, just contributing to the wealth of this whole talk about women in business, which is very, very important. Then please call in. I have a brilliant panel of young ladies here who are pushing the issue really at a higher level. Please, let's come back after a short break.
Fear no stain. Fear no stain. Nomi loves clothes, and clothes love Nomi.
You know what they say about girls? Who cries more? Girls. Who does the chores? Girls. Who's the shopaholic? Girls. Who's all about selfies? Girls. Who brings the drama? Girls. But we want to show you our real world, where we're more than just girls. Introducing Spark TV, the first female channel in Uganda, made for you to bring out the best in you. Spark TV, it's your time.
But are you sure it's going to work?
Yeah.
When someone steals power, everyone else suffers. Wuyo, report power theft on 0312-360-777 or simply visit wuyo.umeme.ug. Umeme, powering Uganda.
Tomorrow night. Brought to you by
Can Bebe Diaper, your smart choice for a happy family.
Tomorrow night.
Max hated it. He treated me like a worthless object, a maggot, a beast. He's right, huh? I must be a nagging bitch or an ogre to wipe the floor with.
What's that, Ivana? Stop with that. You're an attractive woman with a brilliant personality.
Tomorrow night.
Can Baby Diapers have a dry fill system which absorbs the liquidity instantly, prevents leakage, and keeps the baby dry and comfortable. Available in all leading stores countrywide.
On the next episode is brought to you by
Salaplesa with Pepsi.
My son, you want the advice of someone who's much older than you are and with a lot more experience?
Fine, tell me what to
Step
do.
far away from this.
Are you trying to tell me I can't do anything about this? Is that it?
It is. It's what I'm saying.
She took everything that was mine. Everything.
And what do you want
She took
now?
my
You want your money?
inheritance.
You
She
want
took
your money?
everything I had.
You're crazy.
What I want is justice. Carmina's gonna have to pay for everything that she did.
You are crazy. You are crazy. I want you out of that house. You're gonna ask for a resignation.
I'm
for
not
that. You're
going to
crazy.
resign.
Free t-shirts, free airtime, free sodas.
Salaplesa. Simply buy a Pepsi, Mirinda, or Mountain Dew. Check under the crown and SMS the unique code to 8777 for a chance to win big. Salaplesa with Pepsi.
Thank you for keeping with us. This is Karaga Baldwin's at NTV. Very delighted always for keeping in much with us and keeping us as your #1 station all over this nation and definitely across the region. So we're discussing the phenomenon of women in business, and I have just a brilliant panel of young ladies here taking on this subject. And just let me make a certain citation of what is going on. The Ugandan government developed government-funded financing programs such as the Youth Livelihoods Program. Most of us, I think, have heard about it. An extension of the Youth Entrepreneurship Venture Capital Fund to provide startup capital for unemployed youth between the ages of 18 to 30 years of age, and the Agricultural Credit Program through the Bank of Uganda to be accessed by both male and female farmers. By the end of December 2013, an estimated 3,984 youth enterprises had received loans through the fund. Of these, only 30% were enterprises started by young women, both in terms of clientele and loan value, although the fund was not set up with a special gender consideration. So, sir, there is a problem. Ladies are not responsive to business sort of programs, rather maybe even programs that are engineered by government to be entrepreneurs. They want very small, quick stuff to go on. What do you say about it? Just in a minute as I bring in the rest of the team.
Yeah, because what is happening is that these women, like I said, access to information is an issue. Some of them need to be really pampered to do this. And as PSFU, we have we are working with the UNDP, and we've started a program where we are going to support the attainment of sustainable development goals. And one of the goals is goal number 5, which talks about gender equality, where we are going to empower, train, mentor, and support women to access and take up opportunities available. We want more women on boards. We want more women to become CEOs. We want more women to access information without pushing them. If your daughter is not pushed, if she's told, go and wash the utensils, go behind, she will not come up. So we are going to start from there and push these girls, push these women. How you bring up your child is important as women or as men. Let's support our daughters. Let's help them. Why they are pulling back, they don't want to access information, is because of the way we brought them up. So we want to start a new generation where we are empowering, supporting, and helping these women take up opportunities. Because in most cases, women are pushed. You know? So it is important we bring them and empower them and help them. We were brought up to respond to the men. Whatever the man has brought, that is okay, without even questioning, without even, you know, asking anything. You're supposed to be submissive and say, thank you, yes, sir.
Okay, good. I'm the moderator usually here, so there's no prior orchestration to make the whole discussion be like that. I'm the only man making it. But just to make sure that you participate in this discussion, there's a line just right down here, and we're on Facebook, on our network page, and then Twitter, and of course Karaga Baldwin's my Facebook page and Twitter itself. So please, if you're out there, you can call in. I'll pick up your call and we get on with the discussion. Yep. So, Juliet.
Yes, please.
Are there specific economic or business sectors, rather business areas, you feel ladies need to enter into as an avenue for greater competitive advantage, in contrast, of course, to men's competitive energy and advantage?
Thank you again. Yes, there are quite a lot of industries, I should say, that the women can also find themselves participating. For instance, in agriculture. This is already the backbone of Uganda as an economy. And so we find that the women actually already in this sector, but there's need for support again to encourage them to actually, you know, go commercial, because we know that most of it is subsistence. It's basically, you know, fending for home, but how much more if, you know, they go into the commercial, having the tools, the right inputs, you know, agricultural inputs to better our economy. Because we know that the women, as mothers of this nation, fend for their families. So if you have a woman doing agriculture, then the children are not going to go hungry. So the other sector is also tourism.
Okay, just on that note, a little pause. Let me pick a call so that we continue on the discussion.
Right.
Okay, my director tells me I have a caller online. Hello, good evening. Hello? Yeah. Okay, the line is really bad. One more time. Hello? Okay, I have to drop that call. All right. Somebody else. Hello?
Yes, good evening.
Absolutely, very clear. Good evening. Your name and where you're calling from?
I'm calling
You're called?
Ben.
Ben. Calling from where?
Yes. A pleasure having this lady in the studio this evening.
Thank you. Where are you calling from? Just for curious sake.
I'm calling from Kisasa.
Ah, nice to hear from you. Okay, go on.
Now, I appreciate the effort they are doing,
Mm-hmm.
but I think they need to create a synergy between them and the Ministry of Gender, which is now running the program, all the entrepreneurship program.
Okay.
Now, that program is akin to the Youth Livelihood program,
Mm-hmm.
but it's targeted to women.
Mm-hmm.
And the ministry is extending funding to women across the country.
Mhm.
The program was launched just in February this year by the Prime Minister, by the Honorable Governor, and now it has spread out to the whole country.
Mhm.
Now, they created a synergy between them as far as me
Mhm.
and the Ministry of Gender, particularly the program.
Yeah.
It would make much great sense and ensure that the women who are accessing this funding get their business registered and they benefit from the kind of aspect the team is talking about. The mentorship, the support, and the benefits of registration of this business.
Okay, thank you, Ben. Great contribution indeed. I believe the message is taken very appropriately.
Yes.
Hello, somebody else online? Hello? 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 Yes, sir. Good evening. I need you to speak up, or I think my control room director needs to raise the volume. Hello? I can hear you. What's your name and where are you calling from? Okay, unfortunately I can't get sound in the studio. Okay, you're too low, so I think I'll be waiting along the way for another call. Okay, hello, somebody else? Hello? Okay, great. If you are still interested in calling in, just about 2 more calls, we'll be glad to have you. All right, so just Irene, I think, let me first get to exhaust what Juliet was saying. Yes, Juliet, just wrap up on what you're saying.
I was talking about the sector of tourism.
Yes, tourism also.
Which we also feel women can really benefit a lot from. Because as women, we, by nature, we do a lot with our hands. And so in terms of crafts and, tailoring and, it attracts the outside market, especially for the tourists that come in. So you find this is what women are stronger in as compared to the men.
So agriculture, tourism. But do you think that is something that the young ladies really fancy, the under 25s would really be interested in getting into? Because usually that is something they opt for as last resort of personal development.
Again, I think it's the art.
Why don't you talk about music? Why don't you talk about art?
It's art. I mean, the craft is still art.
Oh,
it's
okay.
Art
Tourism,
in the tourism, yeah. Depending on what art. If you have the talent of singing, it's still an art.
Oh,
you
okay.
Can pass.
You have
so it's a bit. It's
when you talk
broad.
about tourism, usually the stereotype is that you go into the game park and be a ranger, and then or you go in a hotel, you're a receptionist.
Not necessarily.
Yes, so I
do realize that even the culture, spreading culture, you could just decide to do dancing or singing. And tourism, people come to see what our culture is about. I think it's not necessarily the game park or the craft But something that talks about our heritage, our culture, would be very good.
Yes.
Now, we realize women are the custodians
Okay.
of culture. We are the ones who tell the stories. We're the ones who, pass on the stories to the children. So
that is generalizing. I've seen some grandpas and men really doing that.
Usually it's the grandmother.
Okay, let me get another caller before we. Yes, good evening. I have a caller online. Hello? Hello? Calls are low, really. Hello?
Hello.
Oh, okay, very good. I can hear you clearly. What's your name and where are you calling from?
My name is Lenny.
Pardon?
My name is Lenny.
Okay, just go on. I failed to pick the name, but go on, please. Your submission? Mm-hmm.
And I'm happy to be with your program.
Okay, now I suspect you're either near a radio receiver, rather a TV receiver, and it's making a backlash. Yeah, can you mute your TV set or move away from it?
I'm just a little away.
Okay.
Yes, I'm saying that I have to be called.
All right.
Yes, anyone has to take for women.
Okay, unfortunately, the line is not clear. Mom, sorry, I can't waste. No. Hello? Okay, unfortunately, the line wasn't clear. I'm sorry, Mom. We had to drop that call. All right, ladies, I need you, just each of you actually, to help out as we're wrapping up. What is being done to inspire the young generation? Those under 15, the statistics phenomenally indicate that Uganda is a very young country, okay? Over 70% are below the age of 35, then almost 50% are below the age of 15. That's recent statistics of 2013. What are you doing to inspire the young generation to go into business? Because you can see that is the most secure. Getting a personal business enterprise literally is the most secure way of self-development than looking for a job. Or that is my presumption, because I'm a business school teacher, and I also want to run business, and I know the difficulties of coming to a job, and you have to struggle with the system to raise your money, and you're always begging the system instead of doing your work. But if you're running a business, you don't give a damn whether you're getting a lot. Yes. So what is your? Let me start with Irene, then I go along till we finish with Sarah.
All right. The Uganda Law Society, for a start, like I said, we always believe in mentoring the young generation. That's why we have a committee dedicated to young people. So this committee has set up a mentorship program whereby we're going out to law schools, not just Makerere, but also to IU, and Mokono and KIU, because they all have law schools. And what we are doing is we're talking to these young people, especially those who are studying law, and training them on what to expect once they graduate from school. How do they go about? Do they want to go into employment? Do they want to start their own law firms? We connect them to senior lawyers who have been in the business a little longer to talk to them about the challenges that are there. And then with regard to the females, the Law Society also has a female lawyers committee, because it was found that there were challenges. Of course, we all graduate from law school, we all start businesses, so we get employed in law firms. But after 5 years, you find that the male colleagues proceed and the females sort of die out. So we started that committee to sort of do a peer review amongst ourselves. What can we do? What is the challenge? And it is doing well. That's why I said we've even gone out and started to give free legal advice to fellow women in different businesses, not just the legal aspect.
Okay, thank you. That's great. Julia.
Thank you again. What URSB is doing in terms of interesting the young generation, we actually already carrying on the spot-on mobile business registrations clinics, and this is something we've done all over Uganda. Yes, so this in a way taps into the young generation. They're interested to know what is going on, and so in this forums we help them get the knowledge, the skills they require, And then on-spot registrations are going on. And we see that the young people actually, or 25 and above, are coming on board and having their businesses registered. And still we are doing accessibility in terms of spreading all over Uganda. We have regional offices where we feel that anyone should be able to access the service of being registered. Yes, so this is what we're doing, and we pledge to continue doing.
Okay.
And actually link them to the different partners that we work with.
Okay, thank you, Julieta. But yes, so there is just 1 minute, then we wrap it up.
Okay, so thank you very much. Under the Private Sector Foundation, we have a program called the Early Steps Program, where we begin as early as 0 to make sure that how you feed your child, how you take through your child, how you train them, makes them either be a business person, be productive in future or not. What we are doing as parents is to spoil our children, you and me, with the television, with the novels. We don't want to bring them to where we are working so that they can see what we are doing. If you're in a window market, take your child there so that they can also kuyimba that, you know, bibidi bibidi, so that they know where the money is coming from. So let's don't spoil the children. Let's work with them, identify their talent early enough, and start to see what they can do. If they are good at crafts, blah, 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 can you buy for them what is required? If they are good at football, do that. And then help them. By the time they are 16, they are 25, they have something they are doing and they are earning already. When you are not around, when you are somewhere else, these children can sustain their economy, can be able to sustain themselves so they don't become hooligans, they don't steal. So as early as 0, start talking to your child in the stomach that you will be like Beyonce. Try, you know, and then they will make it.
Some people are saying you'll be like Beyonce is an anathema. It's like you're really condemning them to the worst sort of. But brilliant discussion. Yeah, Miss Nakibuka, PR manager, PSFU, then Juliet Scovia Polot, Senior Registration Officer in charge of Uganda Registration Services Bureau Branch at Posta Uganda, Kampala, and Miss Namuli Irene, Chairperson Young Lawyers Committee, Uganda Law Society. Very wonderful opportunity we've had and a great platform to discuss business and women. I hope you've enjoyed yourselves.
Yes, we have.
Thank you. It's been a great pleasure having you, and have a great life ahead indeed. Thank you, our viewers, for keeping with us. It's been a fantastic discussion, and we are bringing you more quintessential topics to handle, to tackle in the direction of uplifting our nation, to develop it to a greater standard, and to make sure that nothing takes us by surprise. So I'll be coming back to you soon. I'm giving my great thanks to our marketing team, our programming team, and my control technical team here, which is making sure that this broadcast comes to you live. I'm Karagawa Borins. Have a great evening. I'll come back soon.